All right, with tight end Lake McRee. So, what are your goals going into this season? We know the wide receivers are a big part of the offense. We hear outside noise saying, "Hey, let's use more of the tight ends." Is that going to happen in this year two of Lincoln Riley?
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely the plan. I think we just need to get in a position where they don't take us off the field, and we're in 11 personnel for a majority of the game. And I feel like we're in the position to do that. So I think having a strong fall camp, which I believe we will kind of put us in that position. And
You talk about putting in a position to have a certain personnel group on the field. What do you mean by that? Can you maybe?
I think how it went last year is they would put a tight end on the field for a couple plays, bring them out, situational stuff, and we need to get into a thing where they just, we're on the field for everything, whether that's run block, pass catch, and just keep it in the same personnel instead of having to switch for different situations. I think that makes the game more fluid and, obviously keeps the defense on their toes too if we're switching players for certain situations. They'll know what's coming, and that it'll be easier to plan for it. Where if it's just the same guys, you're like they have no idea what's coming. So,
and you don't want to use it as an excuse, but was last year part of the issue maybe depth, injuries, played a role?
No, I mean, I feel like I'm not too sure. I wouldn't blame it on depth and injuries. I think it was kind of experience and maybe relationships with not being able to establish, a relationship in the offense as much as we'd like to, and a relationship with Caleb as much as we'd like to. As personally for me, missing the first spring ball that was here for Coach Riley's first spring, I think that was a big hit onto kind of how that translated to me last year. So being here for this spring is going to help me a lot, and I think it's kind of given me a much bigger boost into this fall camp than I had last year, because last year I was playing catch up the whole time, where this time I feel like I'm ahead of the curve a little bit. So I think that's kind of what it translated to.
And even though he's been here probably the longest, but he's probably played the least amount of time. What does Jude bring to the room that just helps you guys out tremendously?
I mean, Jude is just a super resilient dude. Like, he has probably been through the most adversity. It's for sure in the tight end room, maybe on the whole team. I mean, had the same injury 3 times in a row. I mean,
crazy.
But I mean, it's ridiculous, the mindset that he brings even after going through all that, and super encouraging whether he's in like the pit with all the injured guys or he's on the field, cleared with us. Like he's the same dude, and it's really like amazing, like how he can carry himself like that, and it's definitely like a page I'm trying to take out of his book of like how he carries himself. So Jude's really essential to our room, and he's definitely the heart and soul of the tight end room.
Last year, there weren't a lot of opportunities, but when you did get the opportunity, you made the most of them. The Notre Dame game comes to mind.
Yep.
What do you take away from that game? What do you remember from that game?
The Notre Dame game?
Oh, yeah.
Someone asked me about the hurdle earlier, and I told them, I was like, I've only hurdled twice in my life. One time was in fall camp last year, like at the end of fall camp, and the Notre Dame game, and those are the only 2 times I've ever tried it. So it's never something I really like thought too much about doing. It's kind of just like in the moment, you just like last second, like I'm gonna go for it, and being a tight end, a lot of dudes try to tackle you low too, so it's kind of like you kind of know what's coming, and especially like when they're breaking down, you can tell they're going to go low, and that's kind of what happened in that game. And I just wanted to go out there and make a play for my team, and that's what ended up happening. So I was happy to be in that position, and hope to be in that position a lot more this year.
Do people maybe not expect you to be that athletic, being a tight end?
Yeah, I get that a lot. That people are surprised with what I do athletically, and they're definitely taken aback by it. So,
what should the fans know about you that maybe they don't? I know, kind of an abstract question.
Yeah, I mean, like, I feel like the not obvious one, but probably that I'm just a super hard worker, and I just will attack every situation the same, and kind of just one thing I always like to say is, like, no matter what it's, I'm just put my head down, kind of have a tunnel vision, and just work
Who are some of those guys that you hang out with the most outside of the tight end room?
Outside of the tight end room, I mean, there's a bunch. I'd say one of the people that I'm closest with is like Miller Moss. You know, me and him both came in together, so ever since we both got here, we've been really close. And same with Michael Jackson. He was my roommate up until like we just moved out into like one apartments by ourselves. But I lived with him for about a year and a half, so we were really close. And I mean, pretty much all the guys that I came in with. And there's not too many of us left. You know, a lot of dudes transferred out, but I'd say those guys for sure are probably who I spend the most time with. And you know, other guys in the O lineman room like Jonah, I spend a lot of time with him. But yeah.
Do you take a little bit of pride in that, almost like a survivor's island with a few guys who are still around?
It's cool to see. I mean, like if you look at my first season here, and like if you just like go and like turn on a game from that 4-8 season, and you look at all the dudes that are on the field compared to our team now, like it's a completely different team. So it is kind of cool to see, like, you know, the couple guys that are still here from that and still continue.
Thanks, Blake.
Yeah, appreciate it.